This time, though, it was just us and the other couple and the REM pod, and it was set up. And we also had dowsing rods. So you want to talk about dowsing rods?
Dowsing rods are basically two pieces of metal that are used for multiple varieties. The historical use for them was people would use them to try to find water. And supposedly they would go, and when you went over water, the forks would cross and indicate something there. We've seen them used in the spiritual world. For example, when we were in Tonopah, Nevada at the Clown Motel, the guy who did the Historical Society, worked with them, told us that's how they divined graves. He said they would walk over the graveyard, and as they cross over a grave, the forks would cross. And I said, sure it would. So he put them in my hands, and I did it, and it literally works.
It does
and
work.
I was like, I'm not going to make this happen. It's just going to happen. And it worked. So as far as how it works, I think it's magic.
So the way we use it is if you're holding it and the rods cross and make an X, then it means yes. If they go away, it means no. So you can basically get yes, no answers from the spirits.
When you set the standard with them and say, this is what I'm expecting this to mean.
And you can discount this when someone else is holding them and think that maybe they're moving them. But when you do it yourself, you feel it moving, like you're not moving it. Even it's like you try not to let them move.
One time I had it in my hand, and I felt it because I thought maybe subconsciously I'm making this happen somehow. But I was holding them one time in the one in my right hand when we were on the Tybee tour here with the Witching Hour. I felt this thing. Almost just pull.
Yeah.
I felt like something grabbed it and pulled it. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't me. And I was like, oh, here, Crystal, you can use it.
We thought we were communicating with the spirit of Francis Sorrel. We asked him a series of questions, and he gave us yes, no answers each time. He seemed to be quite fond of me.
Wow, imagine that.
And when it was time for us to leave that room, the REM pod went off, and it wouldn't stop, like something was trying to get our attention, even though none of us was close enough to set it off.
He just didn't want that pretty blonde to leave, what it was.
Next, we made our way downstairs to the basement. All the lights are turned out, and they have a few lamps and candles around, just enough so you can move around without tripping. There's supposedly at least 2 ghost children who play in the home, a little boy named Charlie, and I think the little girl's name is Sarah.
I believe that's what she told us, yes.
They have a doll set up with a small seesaw toy and one of those cat ball toys. And when our tour guide, her name was Aubrey on this investigation, she was explaining things to us before she sent us out on her own, and the light ball was lighting up all by itself. Another odd thing was that one of the doll's shoes was off and sitting on the table next to the doll. Aubrey said that the little girl ghost likes to untie people's shoes. So that was strange. And
we got a picture of that, yeah.
We do have a picture of the doll.
I'll put that up right now.
And luckily, we always wear sandals, so we didn't have to worry about it.
I don't believe in shoes. I think that's something that society invented to hold people like me down.
On our first investigation, I kept feeling like someone was touching my hair. On this most recent investigation, the other lady in our group and I felt something touch the left side of our faces at the same time. This was in the hallway type room, which is lit with a red light. And we'd asked it to touch someone. Didn't we ask them to reach out and touch someone?
We were crazy, and we did ask that, probably against my better judgment.
And immediately, both of us reached up and grabbed our face because we felt something on our faces.
I was like, oh, he likes the women. I'm fine.
Guests often claim to see a shadow man in this area. We didn't see anything this time, but we did feel the touch on our faces, but we did get an EVP.
Okay, so I'll play the EVP for you now. I basically asked what his name was, and to me, this EVP says like it may say Tim. Crystal said it might sound like...
I thought you said, is there anyone here? And I thought it said here or yes.
Well, either way, I say something, and then you'll hear the response. And I'm going to go ahead and loop it a few times so that you can hear it. So this is not it happening multiple times. It's going to loop so that you get a chance to hear it 3 or 4 times.
Is there anyone in here that would like to talk to us?
The strangest thing I experienced in the basement was I was walking by myself next to a table when I heard something metallic hit the floor like a heavy ring or a coin. We turned our flashlights on our phones and looked for the object but couldn't find anything. After we got home, we listened to the recording and we discovered we had captured the sound that I heard that no one else heard at the time.
Which is weird because when I play this recording for you, I'm going to play it a little bit in advance. And you can hear me. I'm sitting in the Shadow Man's hallway about 10 feet away from where Crystal is. So I'm not far away. And this sound rings out clear as a bell. I did not hear it when I was sitting there in person. It seems like I would have picked up on it because she calls me and you can tell I'm sort of confused as to why she's calling me, but that's why she was calling me.
May I sit? May I sit here? May I sit here? May I sit here? Crystal.
So that was really weird because we could find nothing on the floor at all that looked like metal or, could have made a sound. And later, Aubrey told us that people frequently lose jewelry in that area. I checked and I had all my jewelry.
My wedding band and Rolex is gone.
Yeah. No, so I don't know what that was about. Also in the same area, we captured an EVP that is pretty creepy.
So this EVP is the scariest one of all by far. And what happened was this happened after her looking for the metal object. So I asked, I say, who was that threw the metal object or dinged it or whatever? And if you listen, none of us heard this in person. So that's why some of it happens while I'm still talking, but there is space. And you hear a voice that sounds like something otherworldly saying something, then almost sounds like it gets upset and it just huffs.
It's like a growl.
So yeah, a growl. None of us heard this, but I'm going to play it for you and I'll loop this one just like I did the others so you can hear it a few times and let us know what you think.
Was it money? What were you doing? Who dropped money here? Can you do it again? Who dropped money here? Can you do it again? Who dropped money here? Can you do it again?
Yeah, so that one's kind of scary. And no one was in the room except for us and the other couple. So there's no one making a noise.
And we would have noticed if they made noises like this. No one else was downstairs. It was just us. Everyone else was in a completely different location. So it isn't somebody in the background that could have been doing it.
Yeah, it was just the four of us.
And even if there were somebody in the background, I've never heard a human make sounds like that before.
This is the exact same spot I was standing in on our first investigation when I thought there was a man wearing a white shirt standing next to me. Like I said, on the first tour, it was a large group of people and everyone was just wondering about. So I thought there was someone standing next to me waiting to take a picture. So when I turned around, there was no one there. And when we all got back together, I looked around and there was no man wearing a white shirt at all.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, so that freaked me out. And you were nearby and you didn't see a man.
It seems like, because this has been a while back that you asked me about it, I'm like, I don't remember anybody standing around here.
Yeah, you didn't.
I didn't because there wasn't.
You were there like too. And I was like, I turned to be like, okay, you can take your picture now because I'm moving. And then there was no one there. And I'm like, where'd the man go? And you're like, there's no man.
There is no man. The whole time it was a figment of your imagination.
I guess so.
Or a demon. Who knows?
We also got to listen to a recording, courtesy of Janie, on our first investigation. She was giving a tour, and it's an 18-plus tour, so there should be no children or crying babies. But listen to this and let us know what you think.
So instead of telling you a story, I'm going to play for you a bit of evidence. It's more objective this way. So this happened on an investigation. We have late night events. It's basically like signing up for your own ghost hunting show. We provide all the equipment. We live stream it on our YouTube page even. You're investigating in the dark on our property. So this was one of those events, and I was bringing the guests through the house. This is when we were going from the linen room into the surgery room, and a guest just happened to be recording the audio of my little tour. I'm just going to play it for you. You can tell me what you hear. I'm not going to tell you what to listen for. It's pretty loud, but if you'd like to get closer to me, cozy up, you're more than welcome to.
This oil lamp as well. And interrupt me if you have any questions, of course. I'm throwing a lot of information at you.
Those are the doors. Very scary, not paranormal.
It's all the way. People said vacuums. What? I said.
No babies. The baby crying. Did everyone hear that? Oh no. No offense to babies, but I would never allow a baby to come on an investigation. You have to be 18 years old. to do an investigation.
So it really does sound like a baby crying, and I
100%.
don't understand why there'd be a baby crying.
There wasn't.
I know, and the fact that
In
some of them
form.
heard it as it happened, but then some of them didn't is crazy.
That seems to be the way sounds in a paranormal sense happen. It's like certain people hear it, certain people don't. I'm usually the person that doesn't hear it, which actually suits me just fine.
Another room in the basement is where another one of the Sorrel children, Francis Jr., who became a prominent surgeon, used to practice medicine. After he grew up, he returned to his childhood home and rented out the basement to use as his office. There is old surgical equipment and an old wheelchair in this area. It's pretty creepy. There are reports of the wheelchair moving on its own. Other people feel certain pains in the areas of their body like they're being operated on. I'm glad we didn't feel any of that.
Oh my goodness. I'm getting my arm amputated and I didn't pay for that.
Yes, it's pretty creepy in that side of the room. And I got this quote from the Georgia Historical Quarterly in an article about Dr. Francis Sorrel.
He was also an elder brother of that dashing soldier, G. Moxley Sorrel, who illustrated the manhood of Savannah on many bloodied battlefields during the war between the states.
I just loved that description of Moxley. It's like the article is about the doctor.
Did he write it himself?
And no, the article is about the doctor, but it's like we're going to talk about Moxley.
No, what I'm saying is, did Moxley write this article for the historical group?
Probably. So it seems Moxley, besides being a ladies' man, was quite the soldier. He even went on to write a book called Recollections of a Confederate Staff Officer, which, according to the Georgia Historical Society, is, quote, an absorbing account of his war experiences.
Well, now I want to read it.
I know, they say it's actually good.
I want to read it.
After leaving the basement, we made our way to the carriage house. It's a 2-story building located behind the main house. Downstairs is now home to the gift shop, but upstairs is a large open room with some beds and a table. I say large, but when you consider as many as 12 slaves having to share the space, it doesn't seem very large.
No, not if that's habitation for that many humans.
Mm-hmm. There's a smaller room off the main room that was purportedly Molly's room. It is a small bed and dresser and is lit by candles. We used the dowsing rods and the app again in this room, and we asked if the spirit was Molly, and the dowsing rods crossed, meaning yes. We further confirmed that she was uncomfortable with the 2 men in the room, so they left us girls alone.
Who could imagine me making somebody uncomfortable
I know.
in person of all things?
The lady that was with me asked if she could make a sound to let us know she was there. Almost immediately, we heard rain falling on the roof. It wasn't just a light rain, it was a downpour. I asked the other girl if she heard the rain. She said yes, so we both dismissed it and assumed it must be raining. But just minutes later, we made our way over to the guys and asked them if they heard the rain. They said no.
To no one's surprise, we heard nothing.
Right. And we walked outside to find it completely dry.
And we were standing in such a way that we were directly beneath them. We could hear them talking to each other. I mean, we could hear the footsteps. So what they heard, we should have heard. So it's not like it happened and the walls were so insulated we didn't hear it.
Yeah, it's a very thin wall.
We heard nothing.
And then, we walked outside just minutes later and there had not been any rain.
And other people at the tour had confirmed that back.
Right, we went and asked everyone if it had rained and they were like, no, it didn't rain.
So it turns out that something in this house is rather fond of responding to blondes.
And
Wasn't she blonde too?
Yeah.
Apparently, it likes blondes.
It's interesting because a few days ago, we ran into our friends, Bridget and Dylan from the Witching Hour Tour Company, and he said that they had some guests had a very similar experience hearing rain. It was a light rain, and it was over quickly, but they had that same experience, and they walked outside and it had not rained.
To be fair, it's not weird in Savannah for rain to just pop up out of nowhere.
It's
that can happen, but
you
it's
expect
going
it to be
leave
wet.
some evidence that happened
Right.
if that is the case.
Right. I could have believed it was rain if there was wet ground.
It happens so often that it didn't even occur to you that was a thing when it occurred. You're like, oh, it's just rain. You know. But lo and behold, it turns out somebody is trying to communicate with you.
With the rain. They do know I have a fondness for rain.
You do. You say
actually.
that you love rain. You don't want to be in the rain, but you like to hear the rain.
I don't want to get caught in the rain.
It's very cozy. It's the kind of thing you want to happen
If
so
I
you
can be
can
at
lay
home.
in the bed and eat some sort of keto thing, because that's what we're doing now, and watch baseball
Yeah, that's true.
or football, depending on what time of year it is.
The Sorrel-Weed House continues to be a favorite spot for paranormal investigators. Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures and everyone else who has a TV show has done an investigation. So if you want to see more about it, I'm sure there are tons of episodes out there on the millions of streaming services that we all pay for and forget that we have subscriptions to.
Yeah, that's a good summary of how things work these days.
One EVP that was captured by Ghost Hunters is compelling. This was captured in Molly's room, and we're going to play that for you now. So if this is real, it sounds like a woman screaming for help.
If this is real, this is the most real sounding EVP I've ever heard because it literally sounds like she's there.
It's much longer than a normal EVP. You get a word here or two words, something like that.
It's almost like, it sounds like it kind of might be fake. It's so real sounding to me. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it is. I'm not making that accusation, but I'm like, if it is real, this is some of the best proof I've ever seen or heard for spirits existing.
They also want TV ratings, so there's that.
Aha, see, now that goes back to what I was telling you earlier. It might not be all 100% true.
So I'm not sure what to make of it, considering we know that the Sorrel family had moved out of the house before Matilda's and presumably Molly's death. So Molly wouldn't have died in that carriage house, assuming they didn't live there anymore.
That is the records that you have been able to dig up.
So if that was Molly screaming supposedly on the recording, it just wouldn't make any sense.
It wouldn't make sense, but then you also got to ask, is supernatural energy necessarily 100% tied to the places where things happened in the past, or can it move around?
I don't know. If they have free reign of the city, maybe.
One of those people told us, one of the tour guides that was there, said that she took a ghost home with her. And then it lives with her. So maybe they're transient.
Maybe. We have one more thing to talk about. Remember Kelly Westfield and her archaeological study excavating the basement of the carriage house?
I do, and this is what I've been waiting for the whole time. What happened?
Among the broken ceramics, corroded metal, flatware, broken bottles, they did find bones.
Dun, dun, dun!
But they were animal bones.
I'm going to play the Mario sound.
So this is her interpretation of all they found out.
Okay.
So she has questions and answers.
All right.
What is causing the depression in the basement floor of the carriage house? Her conclusion, the depression is caused by a long, narrow, linear pit used for trash disposal at different times during the 18th and 19th centuries.
This is not nearly as sexy as I was hoping it to be.
It's trash. It's
just trash.
It's literally trash.
It's like our dogs. It's just trash.
If the depression is caused by human remains, who is the person? How did they die? Do the remains corroborate the oral tradition about the Sorrel family? Her conclusion, the depression was not caused by human remains. The oral tradition about the Sorrel family, as it concerns the burial of a slave in this carriage house basement, cannot be corroborated thus far.
Aha, but she said, thus far, which gives it a chance.
It gives you hope. Next question. Does archaeological evidence or research provide support for the murder-suicide story surrounding the Sorrel family? Research uncovered that a slave named Molly, owned by Frances Sorrel, did exist. She traveled to New York City in 1857, and there is no record of her returning. Proof that a carriage house existed at the time of the slave's death and the death of Matilda Sorrel could not be found at this time. Is the depression a result of a subfloor pit or some other subterranean feature? Answer, the pit was clearly used for trash disposal, but may have originally been created for use as a root cellar or privy. So it's really just trash.
I have a question.
Okay.
Let's say this thing went down as the way the tour guides or whoever say it happened. And you've got records that Molly left. Well, what if it wasn't Molly that they
she was
said
switched out?
Was Molly?
Yeah, how do you really know who's who?
That's
you
what
could
I'm
just
saying.
say, my name's Molly, and
it's
go.
like, oh, here's Molly right here. They obviously didn't have the rights to contest or do whatever, I wouldn't think. So what if he's trying to cover something up and say, I'll get some documentation showing good old Molly ain't here no more.
No, but she left in 1857, which is years before he needed to cover anything up. So why would he have?
Maybe he's establishing. There's a Molly.
Oh, he's a mastermind.
That left. He's playing 4D chess while we're all playing Chutes and Ladders, is what I'm saying.
Okay. So that one last thing that I noticed was that, the carriage house is supposedly where Molly and the other slaves lived. Well, they determined that it wasn't constructed until 1888, just long after the tragic death of Matilda.
So what you're telling me is you're literally just butchering everything I held dear to my heart about this ghost story.
Right. I mean, it wouldn't have been uncommon for them to live in the house with the Sorrels because it was a large house, and that's just how they would, that's where they would have lived.
And what evidence is there indicating that is when that structure was built?
The plans, when you ask to expand, when you have to do an addition or whatever, they have city plans for that.
Let me throw another one up here, because you know what I'm going to say.
You could build an addition without a permit, yes.
I know of at least 2 businesses on this island that have done some
modifications,
shall we say, and perhaps didn't file all the necessary paperwork. Now, I don't have anything to do with these businesses. I'm just saying I know a few that have. And
yeah, that's true.
Could that have happened?
But why would he need to do that? Well, why wouldn't they need to? I don't know.
So they wouldn't come try to take $20 out of his account. And he'd be like, you're getting fined $20. And he's like, $20? Do you know how many fine cigars I could buy for my boy? And he needs cigars to look good when he's on that battlefield.
Well, one interesting thing is, people traveled with buggies and horses, and that's why they needed the carriage house. That's where they would keep them.
Oh, and they didn't invent horses until the late 1800s.
No, he did have a horse and buggy that he had to pay taxes on or some such nonsense before 1888. So where did he keep it?
In the carriage house he had already built that he's like, well, one of his buddies in the planning commission's like, I tell you what, you go ahead and draw up some plans for this thing you've already built.
Well, he had long since sold it by then. He left it in 1859.
So he just scammed the new owner.
Yeah, so
that's brother Weed had to take care of it.
So basically what I've concluded is that everything we've ever heard is a lie.
Just to say it nicely.
So I just want to close with a quote that I think sums up why it remains a prevalent theory today.
So before you do this quote and close this out, we do want to say we're not discounting the Sorrel-Weed House. We're not saying that there is an activity there.
Oh, there's definitely activity.
Because there is.
But the story.
But we're saying the story that you're getting
questionable.
Fed is, and we're not even going to say it's 100% not true. We're just going to say it's questionable based on her research and the documentation she's found. We're going to say that we don't believe that the story you're being told is 100% factual. You go look up what Crystal has investigated. We're going to link it in our show notes, and you make the decision yourself who to believe.
So this is from a book called Tales from the Haunted South from 2015 by Tia Miles. Domestic tranquility proved to be elusive and indeed impossible in the South's most elegant homes. Tourists of the American South suspect this horror and even seek to safely confront it, which is perhaps what makes Sorrel-Weed the most infamous historic home in Savannah. I thought that was just perfect. Like, that's it.
I thought it was too. I felt like you were going to read it like you had a Savannah accent, but you just didn't do it.
I don't have a Savannah accent.
You do have a redneck accent, though, and you hide it so good.
A redneck. Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, you should have. I would have bought it more if you'd have said that.
So, I think that's the thing about it. People want a safe distance of the heart. Like, you want it to be true, just a little bit.
They romanticize the past, and it's just.
But you don't want to actually get like scratched and bitten by spirits. But you want to hear them say a word or two, maybe touch you on the face.
Yeah, spin a dowsing rod around your hand, light up a REM pod.
It feels safe.
Don't go home with me.
Yes. So we had a great time investigating the Sorrel-Weed House, and now I need my own set of dowsing rods.
That's what you told me.
So if you're ever in Savannah, we highly recommend touring the house, especially with Bridget and Dylan from The Witching Hour. They're joining up with the Sorrel-Weed House and offering a unique paranormal investigation that includes an amateur investigator, an intuitive, and a parapsychologist perspective. So if you're the skeptical type, they can help you make sense out of what's going on. So check out The Witching Hour on their website and social media for upcoming dates. The first one is actually happening on the night this episode drops, August 6th. So we tried to let everyone know a little earlier this week in case you could attend. But if you didn't get the chance, don't worry, because they're going to be adding more dates.
They are. And it is family friendly for ages 10 and up.
Yeah, that's not usually the case.
Not usually the case
Right.
in these kind of events. So that's a neat thing that you can bring the kids to and do. And we also just want to make sure you understand we're not knocking any tour groups in Savannah for going out and telling some stories, because that's the nature of history. Sometimes it gets embellished. Sometimes things are added. And you got to understand that a lot of the things that you're getting here are for entertainment purposes. And they're stories, sort of like fables that have happened in the past. And I personally don't think there's anything wrong with going out and entertaining people.
Yeah, I don't think the story's true, but I do think that it is actually has some sort of paranormal activity going on there.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it and I've heard it and I felt it. So I know there's something.
Something's there.
But we don't know the true story yet.
So there's a true story behind every haunted house in Savannah, and almost every single one of them is not at all like what you're told on a ghost tour. But remember, have a good time on a ghost tour.
Yeah.
Just because it's not true don't mean it can't be true for fun.
So that is our exciting experience at the Sorrel-Weed House. Join us next time in Savannah, where the ghosts and the good times live on.
But do you know who don't?
Who?
That's going to be me in about 27 seconds if we don't get out of this podcast studio, because I'm going to sweat so much we're just going to float away.
There's going to be a puddle on the floor.
Puddle of Brett. That could be the band name.
That could be a band name.
That's the band name.